The FiLMiC Pro app has been updated to work with the entire DJI OSMO lineup, including OSMO 3 and OM4. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to connect and use the DJI OSMO Mobile 3 with the FiLMiC Pro app. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video for my recommendation between the OSMO Mobile 3 or the OM4. What's up, purpose-driven entrepreneurs? If you're new here, I'm Matt, and if you'd like to leverage DIY video marketing in your business, start today by hitting that subscribe button. First, we're gonna balance the phone on the gimbal. A quick and easy way to tell whether your phone is actually balanced is to see if it'll lay flat here. If it's not laying flat, even when you're hand holding it, then you need to make some adjustments, because if you don't level this out properly, then your motors inside of the gimbal will be working harder, which means that you'll actually get lower battery life. So I'm gonna make a quick adjustment here, just sliding the phone ever so slightly until I can get it so that the phone will remain flat when I let go. Now I'm just gonna turn it on quickly. So by turning it off and checking it, it's actually still pretty level. It looks like it could use a little bit of adjustment. One thing to keep in mind is if you actually add any additional equipment to the gimbal, like say a wired lavalier microphone, or you're gonna put like an ND filter on the camera lens, you will need to make sure that you balance it after you add the additional weight. So this looks pretty good, it's pretty well balanced. Next, let's get it connected. As long as you've connected the OSMO 3 in your Bluetooth settings to your phone, you shouldn't have any issues with connecting the FiLMiC Pro app. Now we can use the mode button on the side of the OSMO 3 to cycle between different control modes. Next, we'll dig into what the 4 modes do and how you can use them. Mode 1 allows you to pan and tilt the gimbal left, right, up, and down. Mode 2 enables you to quickly set and lock both exposure and focus by pressing the control stick left and right. This comes in handy in situations where you want to lock the exposure without locking focus and vice versa. For most video content, you don't want your exposure to automatically adjust during your recording, but you may want your focus to adjust from one subject to the next. When we press up and down, this will control the zoom. Mode 3 is essentially the same, except exposure and focus is measured from the center. So if you want to do a vlog style video or capture quick action, this is a great mode to try out. By pressing left, we lock in the exposure. By pressing right, we lock in the focus. Pressing up and down still controls the zoom in this mode. For those of you looking for manual settings like shutter speed, ISO, aperture, and focus, your favorite mode is going to be Mode 4. Mode 4 gives you full control over these settings. You can lock in your shutter speed to double your frame rate, and then use the control stick to adjust ISO and focus. You'll also be able to quickly switch between Mode 4 and Mode 1, so you can control the gimbal without losing your settings. As long as you don't make adjustments to exposure lock, your shutter speed will remain locked in. Another great feature of having this control is we can turn on the analytics. Then when we make adjustments to focus, you actually get focus peaking, and you can see in the green everything that's in focus. Regardless of which mode you're in, you can still double tap the M button to get the portrait and landscape rotation. You can use a trigger on the back just like normal to control how the gimbal performs when you move the phone. And double tapping the trigger will put it back to neutral. There's links in the description below to both the OSMO Mobile 3 and the OM4, so you can go and check those out. If you're using the FiLMiC Pro app and you're considering which gimbal to purchase, my recommendation would be to go with the OM4, not just because it has a magnetic phone mount. That's not really that big of an upgrade in my opinion. I'm totally fine with just mounting the phone on the clamp and making adjustments. The real thing that you might want to consider here is that the OM4 is able to handle a heavier payload. It can hold up to 230 grams versus 200 in the Osmo Mobile 3. By having that additional weight, your phone's gonna actually be able to have a couple more extra accessories. I use the Samsung Note 10 Plus, so it's actually a pretty big device, and sometimes I plug in a wired lavalier and put an ND filter on top of the lens. It adds additional weight. Now I know the OM4 is capable of handling that additional weight a little bit better. In my opinion, if you already have the Osmo Mobile 3 and you're thinking about upgrading it, it's probably not really worth that because there's not a huge amount of gains to go from one to the next. If you'd like to learn more about the FiLMiC Pro app, be sure to check out my playlist of videos up here. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.